morning shine, shine, shine. Las Vegas, shine your light on me.
Welcome to Las Vegas Tonight with your award-winning host, Dale Davidson. Dale interviews fascinating guests from top-ranked celebrities to people just like you who have an important story to tell. For more than 15 years, Dale has broadcast every week from the fabulous Las Vegas Strip. He finds the people who really make Las Vegas a one-of-a-kind city and lets the world know just what's happening in this remarkable town. You'll discover why 50 million people visit the entertainment capital of the world every year. Stay tuned for another exciting episode of Las Vegas Tonight.
Welcome to Las Vegas Tonight. I'm your host, Dale Davidson. Thank you for tuning in. Each and every episode, we do our best to bring you fascinating guests, often from Las Vegas. And we've outdone ourselves this time. Mark Shaffer is with us. He's a Las Vegas native, as I said to him earlier. So you're the one. There aren't that many. Mark, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you, Dale. Lovely to be here.
it.
Thanks for having me.
No,
Yes.
you bet.
Fun.
So, an honest-to-goodness native of Las Vegas. There are very few of you. Tell me what it was like growing up when Las Vegas was a small town, really.
Well, I sure can. When you say there's very few of us, I agree. I've been told that we're the 7%ers.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, 7% of the people in Las Vegas are from here, and
Wow.
93% are move in.
Me included.
Probably about 90 from California and 3% from the rest of the world.
Yeah, the rest of the world, yeah.
So, but 7%ers, yeah.
That's incredible. I had no idea. What was Vegas like then when you were growing up here?
Well, Vegas back then, for me, the biggest city in the world. But at the same time, when you're 3 or 4 feet tall, everything's amazing.
Everything's big.
And but as I got older and I started to realize what population was, I asked my mom, "What is population?" She said, "It's how many people live." I said, "How many?" She said, 50,000.
Wow.
I said, "Wow."
That seems like a lot.
Yeah, so I got down off my Conestoga wagon and the horse, and I said, "Well, where are we going now?"
Watch the tumble and tumbleweed go by. And speaking of that sort of thing, you were telling me that Rainbow Boulevard, which is in Midtown now, not too far from where we are, was a dirt road or a gravel road?
Junior high school, I went to Cashman Junior High, and we took the bus to school and rode down that gravel road of Rainbow to get there. And I used to sit on the back of the bus and watch the dust swirls behind the bus, and was fascinated with those and how that was happening. And that was a long time ago, yeah.
Now you kind of, reading your bio and doing a little bit of research on you, you have a great life story, but it started out pretty tough, didn't it? You had kind of a tough growing up.
Yeah, yeah. My dad left at 3 and moved back to Florida, where my original family is from. And my mom raised myself and my 3 sisters here on welfare and government housing, and so there were challenges. There was a lot of stress and pressure on mom, and to all those single moms out there, I'll tell you, nothing I got.
God bless them for what they do.
I think we need a bigger support system now for single moms, because when a mom goes single, she's on her own, and there's not really a lot of help in this town or any town that I know of. But another story there. But mom raised us all real in the best she could.
Sure.
We grew up on welfare with government food and food stamps, and I remember going down in her station wagon to help her pick up this powdered bags of food. And it was the worst day of my week because I hated that food.
Everything powdered.
Powdered sugar, powdered milk, powdered this, powdered that, and we'd bring it home and just mix it with water, and I'd plug my nose and I would drink it or eat it. And the milk, when you're a kid, you want vitamin D milk. And
sure you do.
That powdered milk was the worst for a kid. It's like skim milk now. All that government food is probably the healthiest stuff on the planet back then. But when you're a kid, you just want Lucky Charms and Captain Crunch,
Yeah.
And but I had to grow up eating whatever we could eat. When I was young, I remember my mom, when I first heard what rent was, I asked her how much is our rent. She said it was $10 a month.
Wow.
We had a 3-bedroom house, but it was government housing, but you had to chip in a little bit. So I said, $10, wow.
It seemed like a lot of money to you.
Well, as I got older, in my teens, I realized that wow, I wish I could find a place for $10 a month now. But the government was helping out, and then Mom eventually got on her feet. So there were the tough times were probably up till about 12.
Yeah.
So the first 10, 12 years here was, but when you're a kid, you don't know that, you know.
You don't know you're poor.
No, you don't know you're poor. I took some 2x4s and a piece of rope and knocked off 4 wheels off an old shopping cart, and I made a go-kart and went down Bonanza Hill having the time of my life. I thought I was in the NASCAR, you know. And, what else? I had a trash can I washed out and filled it up with water. In the middle of the government housing, there was like a grassy area.
Yeah.
All the kids came out, and they thought I had a swimming pool, and I had a line out the door of all wanted to jump in the trash can and cool off, you know.
And you charged them a little bit.
I did. I charged them somewhere a nickel or a dime or something, and trying to come up with a crew. Well, early on, when my dad left at 3, my mom had pointed at me at 4. And I remember her saying, I did some life counseling with a friend of mine, you know, and like a life coach.
Yeah.
And we kind of looked back and pulled out some stuff in me that I hadn't remembered in a while. But one of the things I remember was when Mom looked down at me before and said, "You're the man of the family now. You have to get us out of this mess."
Wow.
So it was my mom and my 3 sisters. That's a lot of pressure to put on a little kid. But
oh, yeah, 4-year-old?
But I didn't take it as pressure. I took it as a challenge. I said, okay, so let me start thinking what I'm going to do. So at kindergarten, next year at 5, I went to 7-Eleven on the way to kindergarten, and I bought a pack of gum for 5 cents. And I went into school, and I sold each piece for 5 cents each, and I came home with a quarter.
Yeah.
The next day.
Profit.
Yeah.
20 cents profit.
I made some money. So I went to the same 7-Eleven on Bonanza and Maryland Parkway, and I picked up 5 packs that day, and I went in, I sold them out. And by Christmas, I was the gum guy. I had, you know, double over here and single Wrigley spearmint, and
go see the gum pusher.
I was the gum guy, and it was illegal. If we got caught with it, holding it, the teachers.
Oh, that was the worst thing you could do was chew gum in school.
It was. Oh yeah, I had to do everything in the boys' bathroom or behind the block wall. You know, it was undercover operation. But I was doing everything I could to try to make a living and bring home money to Mom and do what I could. And then later on I had a swimming pool, a dip in the pool for a nickel, you know, and I've done a few different things. But you know, I think when you're a kid, you know, you're just happy. I remember about 10 years ago when I worked on Carnival Cruise Lines.
Oh, okay.
And we'd visit all
You're a performer there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And while we hit the islands on the cruise ships, I worked on the Carnival Cruise Lines for 5 years and singing and partying. and those 5 years, we would hit all the islands. And you know, I think traveling is an amazing education. Down there, well, here in Vegas, I've seen little 10-year-old kids get mad at their iPad and throw it on the ground, a $700 or $800 iPad, and smash it. And in Jamaica, you see 2 little kids kicking an empty can of beans down the street, having the time of their life.
Yeah.
And you know, and here our kids are just, you know, they get mad when their iPad runs out of batteries.
I know.
Runs out of juice. So it keeps you humble when you know where you came from. You know.
Yeah.
And, you know.
Yeah. I see a thread in your biography when I read your history and look things up, because you're a very successful businessman now, and I see a thread of entrepreneurship. So was it that those early days when your mom said you're the man of the family now that motivated you to be a business guy?
Well, it really did. It was put in me early on that I had to, because it was my mom and my 3 sisters.
Yeah. Where did you fall in the family?
I was third.
Third. Okay.
Third down.
Okay.
Yeah, I took it on as though I had to dig in and roll up my sleeves and help out, and I took a little pride. You know, I'm the man of the family, so I can. You know, of course, didn't know how to do anything, but, you know, Mom made me feel like I could, and I quickly would learn, you know. But I think, that's where kind of the seed was planted. Yeah. Early on, she said, you know, you're gonna have to get us out of this mess. I can still hear her saying that today. And
wow.
And to this day, it doesn't matter if I have a million or $5 million or $10 million in the bank.
Right.
To me, it feels like I just turn around and there's that powdered milk waiting right behind me again.
Wow.
I'm still running from that powdered milk. I just took off running.
Yeah.
And I'm still chasing this, even though my mom is now in heaven. I still feel this need to keep running, running towards goals, dreams, desires. So I dream a lot. I have a lot of goals. I have a lot of plans. A big vision board.
That is, and I'm sure that you probably didn't feel that way when you were struggling and, trying to make a living and help out your family. But it's a blessing in a way. You had your own depression kind of an experience, like a generation ago.
Yeah.
My parents who lived through the Depression were the same way. Didn't matter how much money they made later, they were still plugging away and, being penurious and, and really watching a buck. And, you're incredibly successful now, own magazines and all that sort of thing. But you're not satisfied with it. You really still are working away at it, aren't you?
Yeah, so now I have my Vegas magazine is doing really well.
Yeah,
and
there it is.
And I could sit here and just live out my life on one magazine, but
you got more than one, don't you?
But when that's now sold out, and so I thought, well, what are we going to do now? So I opened up my Nashville.
Oh, okay.
And then we have my Tampa now in the works and my Austin.
Wow.
And still running away from that powdered milk,
That's a fascinating story.
Yeah.
It truly is.
It's what motivates. It's a weird motivator, but when you're a kid and you're forced to eat something you don't want to eat and it tastes nasty, it'll make you work harder to not ever have to do that.
That'll
again.
do it right there. I want to delve a little bit more into your past history and then of course talk about the president in our next segment, and we're going to impose on you to sing a little bit for us during the next segment, if that's okay.
I'd be honored.
We're going to take a brief break and then come back with Mark Allen Shaffer right after this. Hi, I'm Dale Davidson, host of Las Vegas Tonight. Radio has an enduring place in the heart of America. Sometimes it's music that can enliven your spirit or keep you company when you need some. More often for me, it's just been the right spoken word or two that can quiet my mind and soul. Radio brings me a reassuring word in the quiet of night or a welcoming voice early in the morning as I shake off the night's sleep and find my way into God's purpose for my day. And always, I find the best radio station is the one that brings me the best news, the gospel of Jesus Christ. My favorite radio station is KKVV in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's still right where it's been for years at 1060 on the AM dial, hovering over Sin City like a gospel airship, broadcasting the good news of the abounding love that Jesus Christ has for every single one of us. No matter who you are or where you live, you can receive God's Word via the KKVV Gospel Airship. Just go to kkvv.com and click on Listen Live. KKVV is using all the tools that God's provided them, like podcasting and video streaming and video on demand, to produce programs that lift up our fellow believers and save the lost. If you feel a calling to speak to others about Jesus Christ on your very own show, pick up the phone and call the station. They'll be happy to tell you how. Call KKVV today at 702-731-5588 or drop them an email at kkvvradio@hotmail.com. Please join me in becoming part of the KKVV family. You'll be glad you did. And welcome back to Las Vegas Tonight. I'm your host, Dale Davidson. Mark Allen Shaffer has graced our set here. He's a Las Vegas native who has made it big. A Horatio Alger story. Do you know Horatio Alger?
I heard about him. Tell me more.
Yeah, he was an American author in the 1870s up to about 1900. And he wrote books about, and they were always boys, little boys who started out poor and ended up wealthy by doing good works.
Wow.
And they were Christian-based, really.
Wow.
And you're a living example of a Horatio Alger story.
Well, thank you, Horatio.
What a great name that is.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your music. As people can notice, you've got your guitar out, and music is an important part of your life. You're a country singer primarily, I would say.
Well, 100%.
Yeah, and the Mark Allen Band has appeared on the Strip for years. And tell us how that got started.
Well, that got started. I used to. I was never a fan of country music.
Yeah.
In fact, my sister used to drag me out to a local bar here on her birthday once a year, and
make you listen to it.
Worst night of my life. First night of the year, I had to go through the whole night listening to country music. But it's changed. It's changed so much now and over the years. And about 12 years ago, 10 to 12 years ago, it was about 10 years ago, I got drugged into another country bar by a friend of mine. And I heard a Zac Brown song.
Oh, okay.
And I thought, and I Shazammed it, and I went home and I practiced out on guitar, and I went back the next night. It was so fun, and I got 3 more songs, and I went back about a month. After about a month, I had 30 or 40 songs,
right?
And they were all so fun, and it's just not that old twangy country anymore, It's just really pretty stuff, and
it's great music.
So I ran an ad, I found a drummer, then another ad, and found a keyboard and a bass guitar and a lead guitar, and we slapped together a band and spent 6-7 years going up and down the Strip.
Wow.
So fun. And
what a great
playing
story.
Cover songs. It was cover tunes and all.
Yeah.
But that led to came to an end with Corona, like all the musicians,
Yeah, that's right. They all stopped working.
Go home and start writing songs. So then I spent the last 2 or 3 years in the studio working on songs, and now I'm really into producing my own. And my dream is to get on the radio.
You have your own studio now, and you're also recording in Nashville professionally.
I am. I've got an album right now. My first LP I'm working on in Nashville. 7 songs, and they're all originals. And can't wait. We're about 3 deep into them. We got 4 more to go, and I'll be flying back next week. I met a great producer there, and very excited about this project.
That's great. It's a great town. I love Nashville. The National Religious Broadcasters meets there almost every year, and they're doing so right now.
Oh yeah.
And I'm going to be sorry I'm not going to be there, but they praise the Lord in song every day.
Yeah.
And that's an important part of it, and that's part of your life now too, since you came to Christ.
Yeah, and there's a lot of references to God and Jesus in country music.
Yes.
Even today's modern stuff, you're going to hear it all the time about walking into church on Sunday morning, and one day we'll go back to that church, and get married, and you're hearing so many amazing lyrics that make references to God all the time.
Yeah.
I want to. I would like to fuse the two together, country music and Christian music.
That's a great idea.
And I've got visions of a dream of my band being called Cross Country, in the shape of a cross.
Oh, okay.
With the O, in the middle of cross. And
trademark it, buddy. That's a good name.
Cross Country, because I want to cross country with Christian music,
Yeah.
and just keep that vibe going.
Another genre that has sort of modernized itself is Southern gospel, which has always been quartets and that sort of thing, and often kind of old-fashioned, but it's really hipper now than it used to be.
Yeah.
And I think that what you're doing and proposing to do would fit right into that genre, I think.
I'm sure, yeah. There's so many now. I think country music, it used to be only 2. Country and Western.
That's right.
And now there's
Western swing, which is a different thing. Yeah.
Now there's about 20 of them. There's a new one out, bro country, and it's soulful, country.
Oh, okay.
There is Tex-Mex country, with got more of a Latin flavor to it. So every culture is bringing their own vibe to it, and making country broken up into a few different pieces now. So giving more diversity to the country.
That's wonderful.
Last night the CMA Awards were on TV, and I think every country, every race and religion and creed was on that stage.
I know. It's totally changed.
It's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, isn't it great?
I love how it's spreading.
Would you grace us with a song and tell us
it's
a little bit
spreading.
about
Country music is spreading just about as fast as Christianity is.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And that's fun to watch that too. Grow.
Yes.
And with my faith, and everything. I'm right now. I auditioned for my church to get on stage, and I'm waiting for answers there. And I'm working on some new stuff with Christian music. Christian music is kind of new for me. So I've been
It's a
doing country
different
for
thing.
10 years.
Yeah.
But I've also been following Jesus for 10 years now, and so bringing them together is it's gonna be. I can't wait to see what comes out.
And you're at the Crossing, right? I've seen it's a great church.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Great
don't have
pastor.
one song of mine I don't even have done yet. Just got started on it 2 weeks ago. It's called "Reading All the Red Lines."
Oh, okay.
About all the things that Jesus said in the Bible.
Yeah, red ink.
Yeah.
It must be true. It's in red ink.
Yeah. So that's going to be a fun one. I want my songs though, and that I write to be to where you're listening to them. They're so cross you don't know. Is he talking about God or is he talking about a girl?
Yeah.
Because the love we're all searching for sometimes it's human love, and sometimes it's but it's the godly love, and so they're both the same search in my mind, But I've been focused on the wrong one for many years.
There's a lot of that going around.
Over the last 10 years, I figured out that I should have been focused on him all along. Sometimes
we all learn these lessons. Some of us are a little more hard-headed than others.
You've heard of a late bloomer?
Yeah.
I'm a late learner. There's never a bad time to fall in love with God.
Oh yeah. Well, why don't you grace us with a song and tell us a little bit about the song and what you're going to do.
Well, this is just a song called "Good Good Father."
Oh yeah.
You may have heard it.
Great song.
It is just praising the Lord and letting Him know how good He is and amazing He is, And I don't want to do the whole song. I don't want to waste all of our time, but I'll give you a little snippet.
That's okay, as long as you like.
Well, I've heard 1,000 voices to tell me what you're like, and I've heard the soft whisper of love in the dead of the night, and you tell me that you're pleased and that I'm never alone. You're a good, good father. It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are, and I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am. You're a good, good father. It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are, and I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am. Don't you know you are perfect in all of your ways? You are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways to us.
Very nice, Mark.
Piece.
Very, very nice.
It's a half song.
Yeah, that's nice. Thank you very much for gracing us with that.
Love that song.
Yeah, it's a great song. I hope the church has the sense to put you on.
I hope it's a tough one. There's a lot of guys with guitars who want to get on that stage.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's free, it's volunteer. It's still the toughest.
Yeah, I know it's a tough gig to get.
Yeah.
It really, truly is. Let's talk a little bit about your faith journey. Did you have a conversion experience? What brought you to Christ 10 years ago?
It was divorce. I went through a divorce, and I was in a state of bummer. I was in a bummer mood, and
Sure.
my wife had been unfaithful with my best friend for a couple of years, so I had a lot of baggage on my back about that.
Yeah.
And I just walked by this church. Now, I had been to Central here in town 20 years ago, and I'd been out to Canyon Ridge 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But I kind of just dabbled in church. Mm-hmm. I'd visit when I could, and you see, it goes back to the days of my early family. There were a lot of drugs in my family when I was a kid.
Oh, there were? Yeah.
My mom, she drugged me to church. She drugged me to guitar lessons.
That's good. That kind of drugging.
Music.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's funny.
She drugged me everywhere, but you know how it is when you get into your teens, or you start rebelling, and I didn't want to go anymore. And
Yeah,
so,
sure.
I spent the next couple of decades not really going like I should,
Yeah,
but,
sure.
It was 10 years ago when I was driving by this. I moved out of my house after the divorce, got into a new house, relocated, and I was just driving through the neighborhood, and I saw this big building, and I thought, what is that? And it had a church, and so I went in on the next Sunday and watched the pastor there. And for the first 2 years, I just was taking notes. This guy was phenomenal. He reminded me of Gene Apple. His name's Pastor Shane over at Crossing Church.
Yeah, I know him,
And Gene Apple I'd met way back in the day.
at Central.
At Central.
Yeah.
And then, which later on I dabbled into Canyon Ridge. But this guy got me all the way after 2 years. And I joke around. I say, after 2 years I looked around and said, am I in a church? Because this guy was a motivational speaker, and he just brought me to a good place every time.
Yeah, Shane's a great preacher. Yeah,
it was just fascinating. And so I got hooked on Shane, as I say, and then I got hooked on the church. And then they said, you want to go to a mission trip? Do you want to get baptized? We got things you can do. And I didn't even open my eyes for 2 years. I was just focused on him.
Yeah.
So with that said, that's what happened. And then I have written down every year a takeaway from my church of things that the most amazing that happened to my growth.
Wow.
Like a growth chart of every 10 years. And there was 1 year where I learned all about what a judge I was. The first couple of years I was judging people, and I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And now I learned how wrong it is for me to judge people.
Right.
And I'm not the judge; he's the judge.
Yeah.
And so then I had to go through this other process of learning how to forgive other people.
Yes.
And forgiving my ex-wife was really tough, but God and Shane showed me how to do it. God, working through Shane, had one day that was amazing. It was just, some days you go to church and the message isn't about you. Some days it's kind of about you. Other days it just hits you right in the bullseye.
Right.
It's like you look
like, how did he know this
are you
about
talking
me?
to me? How did I think he's talking to me. And
Yeah.
that was that day.
That's the best preaching.
I walked out of there with complete forgiveness for her and everybody, and for the secretary that was late, for the client that didn't pay their bill. I learned how to forgive others.
Yeah.
But that was just a lesson for that year. The next year I went through another big thing where how to forgive myself. And that was a whole nother lesson. I have 1 year where I fired my devil. My mom told me when I was a little kid, you get an angel on one shoulder and a devil on the other, and you better watch yourself because you can get in trouble with the devil.
That's right, you can.
So I grew up most of my life thinking these are my two coaches, and and sometimes I talk to this one, sometimes I talk to that one, that one got me in trouble. And
of course.
So 1 year at Crossings about 3 years ago, I looked up at God and I prayed and I said, I fired my devil is what I call it. I fired him, got him off my shoulder. I prayed to God to please send me down another angel. Now I've got two angels on my shoulder.
Oh, what a blessing.
So all my decisions now are based on, when I look and listen, talk to my two coaches now, if there's a $100 bill laying on the floor and that man's walking away, he just dropped it, there's no question what to do. Sir, you dropped 100, and just call it right out. So I don't, I have, it's a whole new life.
What a blessing that is, truly, isn't it? And
really, really.
And when you reach a point like that where your secret life is the same as your public life, that's just a remarkable thing. The other thing we all need to remember is when we profess Christ, people keep an eye on us, don't they?
Yeah.
They watch and say, what does a Christian life look like?
Yes.
And I found out that you were a Christian by watching your Facebook. Really years ago when you would say, when you were on a mission trip, and you were in Mexico, I think the first time that I saw. And then that said to me, well, Mark Allen Shaffer is a Christian because you don't do this just for the fun of it.
Right.
This is hard work.
Yeah.
And so, you've been living it. And we've noticed, by the way.
Well, thank you. When I walked into Crossings, I had no friends. And today I have 100 friends. And I still get calls from people that say, Mark, what's that church you're going to? I've been watching for 5 years and I want to go to it now. And I have attracted, you can't drag somebody to church. I've dragged two friends to church and they both didn't stick.
Yeah.
But the 100 that did stick invited themselves, and asked me about it. And so now it takes me, it's a 10-minute walk from my car to my seat, but it takes me about 45 minutes to get there because I have so many friends there now that are following Jesus too. And it's just like, whew, amazing.
Yeah. And that's an important part of being a Christian.
So thanks for noticing.
I did.
My Facebook used to be all beer and bikinis, but now it's all Bibles and God.
That's right. Yeah, and red letters.
Yeah, red letters.
That's a great thing. We just have a minute or so left in this one, in this segment. You want to play us out?
Sure.
Yeah.
I got a song at it's a country. Though, is country all right?
Okay, sure. We love country.
I always like to ask first. Because you never know, and sometimes it's not everybody's cup of tea, you know.
Yeah.
But it's definitely mine. You can marry an architect, build you a house out on the water that really impresses your father. And you can find some grown-up friends, drink some wine in California, but even if you cut it short, you'll always have long blonde hair, you'll always be Memphis queen, you'll always be my first time in New Orleans. No matter where I go, no matter what I do, I'll never be 23 with anyone but you. You can marry who you want and go back to Tennessee, but you'll never be 23 with anyone but me, yeah. Oh, yeah. You'll always have your first last name standing in that July rain, telling me your mind has changed, but in my mind you're still the same with long blonde hair. You'll always be Memphis queen, you'll always be my first time in New Orleans. No matter where I go, no matter what I do, I'll never be 23 with anyone but you. You can marry who you want, go back to Tennessee, but you'll never be 23 with anyone but me, yeah.
Okay, studio audience.
That's it.
Nice job.
What gave Joseph perseverance? What did he see in that well? A future of uncertainty? A life of fear and pain? Yet even when he was sold, he never gave up. Even after he was wronged, he did what was right. Even when he was all alone, he chose to believe. How did he find the will to carry on? Was it the promise, the dream, or maybe it was his faith in God that helped him? Despite his circumstances, God used Joseph to influence the world. His story is a reminder that God is never far from us, that he is always in control, and he is always working, even when we don't see it.
Alpha and Omega. You have no beginning, you have no end. Before the foundation of the world, you chose me, adopted as your child through your Son, Jesus Christ. I deserved death, yet you showed me grace. I deserve your wrath, yet you demonstrate love. My God, this whole world may fail, but you remain the same. The love of an everlasting God is my firm foundation. Whom shall I fear? Everything here on earth will fade away, but your promises will never. The love of an everlasting God is my hope. No one can take it away. I am yours, my Lord. You chose me, my everlasting God.
Welcome back to Las Vegas Tonight. Mark Shaffer is on our set, and boy, it's really been a blessing to have him here with us. He has sung a couple of songs, so for those of you watching on tape, rewind and watch it again because they were really worth it. And we won't let you get away without another one here in a couple of minutes.
Okay.
I understand you you got a couple of miraculous escapes from accidents. Tell us about that and how Jesus played a role in what happened there.
Yeah, Jesus, he's not ready for me yet. He's kept me down here a couple times. They were both car wrecks, both of them. One was a head-on collision.
Oh boy!
When I was about 16 or 17 years old, you know, they get your car and just living without Jesus.
Yeah.
You know, living without God's guidance. You know, you do some reckless things, and I was a little reckless in those years. You know, you try it on your own when you go out. When you leave Jesus and you go try it on your own. Don't be surprised if
things don't go so well.
You fall on your face a few times. Yeah. Well, I ran into a van, and I was borrowing my mom's Volkswagen Beetle, and I ran into a big white van and head on, and I just remember waking up in the hospital the next day, and lucky to be alive. Got a little scar from it here, and broken 3 or 4 different places, and beat up. But then again, at somewhere in my 20s, early 20s, I had. Fell over the side of a mountain in a car, rolled 3 times down the side of a mountain in Lake Tahoe, and in a convertible.
Oh my gosh!
I wasn't driving then, but I was sleeping. But probably better off I was. But for some reason, not a scratch, you know. And God was there too. He said, you know, I got plans for you.
Wow!
I got plans for you. And so.
And you lived up there, didn't you, in Lake Tahoe?
I did. I lived in Tahoe for a couple of years. Yeah.
Yeah, and you were a I don't want to say ski bum. You were an instructor.
Well, I was a ski patrol. An apprentice for the ski patrol. Yeah, never made it all the way, but that's what brought me back to Vegas. But love snow skiing. Yeah,
isn't it great? It's just in a beautiful place.
Yeah, it's God's country way up there.
Oh, isn't it though?
Look out and see everything. I can't talk enough about God and how He's played such an important role in my life. Even when I didn't have a relationship with Him, He had one with me.
Yeah, isn't that something? When there are people watching, obviously, who have no real knowledge of Jesus and no training in knowing what Christianity is all about, what would you say to them if they're searching, if they are seekers of Jesus, which you were when you discovered your church and started showing up on a regular basis? What should they be looking for in a relationship with Jesus?
Well, there's a little prep to that, you know, in my opinion. Mom raised me chasing money, and you know, she said, you got to get us money and get us out of debt. We grew up on welfare in Vegas, and so as my pastor says, what you miss the most is what you probably worship.
Yes.
And what you chase the most is what you worship. So it was number 1, and God was like 3, 4, 5 on my list. He wasn't number 2 or 3. He was way down, and when I had learned the value of putting God first, then money started going down. And I think the money is like, and if anybody's watching this and loves money, you know, for me, when I fell in love with God and gave Him the keys to my business and my personal life,
right.
The money came out of the woodwork.
The blessings just didn't stop.
Yeah, you know, it's so much better if you do it with God. You know, I know I have a lot of friends that are still chasing money, and they worship money. Yeah. And if I could get them to worship God, the money will come at you like crazy. He'll give you more money if you just trust Him first.
Yeah.
That everybody is searching for something.
Yes.
The pursuit of happiness we're born with that. We're looking for happiness from the minute as soon as we get out, stand up in our first diaper. We're looking for something to make us happy. We're trying to find, and God wants us to be with somebody. And so, in that pursuit of chasing happiness and that perfect somebody in your life, that human, you know, I found when you give it to God, He'll find you the right person. He'll take care of your job. He'll take care of your income. He takes care of everything. I gave Him the keys to my personal life, and everything changed. I gave Him then a couple years later, during this last 10 years, I gave Him the keys, and I said, okay, you did a good job with that. Thank you, God. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and give you the keys to one more thing. I've had 3 or 4 failed relationships in my life. And one of my friends
You're not alone.
One of my friends said, your picker is broken, Mark. You don't know how to pick them. So I agreed. And when I said, God, can you handle? I said, here's the keys. You find her, and when she's ready, and you tell me when I'm ready, you run that too. I gave him the keys to my personal life. Yeah. And then I gave him the keys to my relationship life. And it was only during Corona I gave him the keys to my business.
Yeah.
I said, I don't know what's going on with this Corona. I don't know if the world's coming to an end or whatever, but here, you can have that too. And all three are just blossoming now, much better than I could have ever done it on my own.
Oh, yeah.
And trying it on your own, I think we all do it and want to do it. And we're afraid to give it control. When you fully surrender, and you got to give him everything, and he will just take care of the rest. And so, so a guy came into my office last week and he said, I want to talk to you. He was mad. I want to talk to the owner. You're the owner. Everybody told me you're the owner. I said, no, I'm not the owner. What do you mean? I say, and he's a big guy, 6'4", and he's got his muscle shirt on like he just got out of the gym, and he was having issues with one of my salespeople. And I said, he said, well, I thought you were the owner. Everybody told me you're the owner. I said, no, I'm not. He said, well, who's the owner? I said, God. He said, what do you mean, God? I said, I'm just, like my pastor Shane said, we're just custodians. We just manage all this stuff. You got to leave it here. It's, we're just playing with it and running it for God. And so we went in.
That deflated the anger, I'll bet.
You bring God in the picture, and it kills all the anger and all that.
Yeah.
Love will always win over anger and frustration.
Yeah.
So it was only 10 minutes later. I bring God everywhere in every conversation, and 10 minutes later, the guy was happy. We shook hands, and we finished up stuff, and it was a win-win. Create a win-win. If you're looking for a win-win, call God.
Yeah. Jesus does it for you.
They're all win-wins with God.
What you're saying, and I think it's a nice, refreshing way of looking at it. We tend to think, well, I got to go to church on Sunday, and I got to pay attention to Jesus now for a full hour. And what you're saying is he's walking alongside you this whole time. And if people can discover that, they're going to be happier, aren't they?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I find myself discipling now 2 or 3 hours a day.
Do you really? Yeah.
I've got clients that come in and, if they have issues or concerns, and I sit them down and we start talking. We'll talk 10 minutes about their concern. They might say in the magazine, oh, my shirt isn't black enough, or you didn't have the right words here, or whatever. They find
sure.
And I'll say, well, let's talk about that. And 10 minutes, we're talking about the problem on the magazine, and then we're spending 2 hours talking about God.
Isn't that amazing?
And somewhere in that God talk, I call it God talk, they tell me, actually, Mark, the magazine was fine. I'm just having struggles in my life right now. And then we talk about that. Wow. And I've had to pull out the tissue. And I love it when I pull out the tissue box, because you're talking to somebody's heart now, not mine. A friend of mine said, sometimes you just got to drop it down 12 inches. And I said, what does that mean? He said, well, but between the center of the brain, the American Medical Association, the AMA, determined that between the center of the brain and the center of the heart on the average human being is about 12 inches.
Oh, okay.
And many times we talk head to head.
Yeah.
And he said, well, you drop it down 12 inches, you get heart to heart. So he said to me, can we drop it down 12 inches? I said, what does that mean? now you know.
That's a good line. I love that line.
Yeah, just get down to heart. And that's what God somehow opens up these conversations. And people will tell me stuff that, like, I look left and I look right.
I can't believe you're hearing
personal, this. But they're pouring their heart out to me. I say, it's kind of a good feeling, though, knowing that I can talk to them about God. And they say, well, I ask them, I start simple. I say, where are you at with your faith?
And they'll say, what do you mean?
Like religion? I go, well, whatever you call it,
Yeah.
I said, where do you give any God any time,
Yeah.
And and I have a T-shirt I wear to church every now. It says church on the front, and on the back says it's not just a Sunday thing.
Yeah.
God is 7 days a week, and you gotta know that if you really want protection and love and success, talk to God 7 days a week. Have a life filled with God.
Yeah.
And just give him the keys to everything else. I probably wouldn't be here if I wouldn't have God in my life, because I would be out in my selfish world doing my selfish things, and I wouldn't have never even caught your attention or been invited here. So thank you.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you for coming.
I really appreciate it.
God
I want to
bless
tell
you.
I'm very impressed with everything I've seen you're doing, too.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thanks
And it's the same thing with me. The Lord told me 15 years ago, you got to do this TV show and just invite people on and get out of the way. That's really what he told me.
Get out of the way.
Get out of the way and let them tell their story about Jesus. And that's what I have done ever since. And it has grown to the point where it literally is everywhere in the world.
And look, and from Sin City.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, it's like so beautiful. It's such an irony that, in the middle of Sin City, you're spreading the word around the world.
Yeah.
And I just love it.
What's amazing about the whole thing? I read an article today saying, they listed the 5 top sinful states in the United States.
We're on there.
It's amazing thing. Well, we're number one.
We're number one.
We're number one, of course. And I was, way to go. But it's clearly Las Vegas Tonight for a reason. Mm-hmm. I believe that people are going to watch it because they go, wow, the guy's going to sing, and he's got a great set here in front of the Strip and all of that. And then, they're tricked into learning about Jesus.
Well, that's what I want to do.
We've tricked you.
That's what I want to do with my music. I want to write music where people are saying, I like this new country singer I'm hearing, but what's this? Is he talking about a relationship or is he talking about God?
Yeah.
I want to trick him into God.
There you go. And just, it's going to work.
I don't call it tricking him, but I want that crossover. I want that element to be there.
There you go.
So that they know that that there is that's my way of spreading the word.
That's wonderful.
Through my music.
Will you play another song for us?
I will.
Tell us about this one.
Well, this one is another cover song. My originals are already, in fact, Mark Allen Country Band on YouTube. You'll see them on there. We're breaking them out. And search me Mark Allen Band in Las Vegas.
The Mark Allen Band. Okay. Yeah.
But so I'll just give you this cover here as we close out this segment.
Yeah.
By Luke Combs, talking about a woman or God. I don't know who he's talking about, but he says her day starts with a coffee and ends with a wine, takes forever getting ready, so she's never on time for anything. When she gets that come get me look in her eyes, well, it kinda scares me, the way that she drives me wild. Yeah, she drives me wild. Beautiful, crazy, she can't help but amaze me. The way that she dances, ain't afraid to take chances, wears her heart on her sleeve. Yeah, she's crazy, but her crazy's beautiful to me. Her crazy's beautiful to me.
Thank you.
Beautiful, crazy.
That's a beautiful song.
That's the life we live.
That's it. You've certainly lived that life and lived it well. A life well lived.
More beautiful since G-O-D.
That'll do it.
God and Jesus, yeah. So.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Speaking of which, we only got about 3 minutes left in the show, and I'm going to impose on you if you don't mind. That's your camera right there. If you'd address the camera, talk to the audience about Jesus. Lead them in the sinner's prayer if that's what you want to do, or whatever the Lord puts on your heart. Please tell them about Jesus.
Well, I will. I'll tell you, there is no other better business partner. There is no better other life partner. For many of my friends, I see them chasing, they're lost. Like a lot of my friends, and I love them to death, and I was lost. They're lost. Yeah, you can run around this planet for 20, 30, 40 years and just being lost, looking for your purpose, looking for your answer, and God has that, And for me, it was just transformational. You see these some people, they go through like a physical transformation. They'll lose, like a 300-pound woman will get down to 105 pounds, and they call that transformational. That's a physical transformation. But when you have a godly, the inside of your body and your heart and your head also, in my opinion, needs to be transformed too. When you're sad, you're lonely, you're having failed relationships, you're having money struggles, you're having just struggle after struggle, and trying it on your own is, I think we all have done it. And I'm God's witness that there's nobody as amazing as God in your life. And when you have God in your life, He'll put all that stuff behind you and give you a whole new life, and you can start over fresh. And I cannot impress upon anybody to know that He is there for you. He's protecting you and serve you and love you and take care for you and fight for you. And I have a funny saying I tell people now that God and I made an agreement one day that I'm 5'9", and I would handle all the problems from 5'9" down, and everything above that he would take. I'll tell you.
I like that. That's great.
I have nothing, so my problems are small now because he takes all the big ones. If somebody comes at me, when Satan comes at you and he attacks you, I just look, I say, God, you're going to have to take him. I got to get the trash out before the trash man comes. My only problem now is checking the mail and taking the trash out. Other than that, God is handling all the big stuff, and if you want God to handle your big stuff, just to give God a chance.
Wow. Thank you, Mark. That's very well done, and you need to listen to him. And you'll accept, I hope, some questions or concerns or whatever on your email. We'll put up your email and your contact information. And the Mark Allen Band is on YouTube. And watch for your album. No?
Yeah, that's coming by summer. We should have it all wrapped up by summer, end of summer.
And do you know what it's called yet? The album?
No, I don't. It's going to be off one of the songs.
Oh, okay.
I'll give one of them the title track.
Okay, that's great.
It might be called "Ooh La La." That's one of the songs right now that most of my friends are saying will be the hit.
It'll be that's got the hooks. There you go.
The hook, yeah.
God bless you.
God bless you, Dale. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Mark Allen Shaffer, ladies and gentlemen, right here on Las Vegas Tonight. And as I try to remember each and every episode of this program, I want to say, when it comes to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, please walk with him. God bless you.
Country grace in a holy place, a shining star on heaven's
Our world isn't perfect. Just watch the news. Evil is everywhere. Now, at the core of who we are, we all know and feel these things to be wrong. But why? Why do we agree that some actions are wrong? Where did we get our standard, the moral code that tells us good from bad? If we're creating it ourselves, free to choose what works for us, then that would make every action acceptable. Good and bad would be the same. Then people who commit heinous crimes wouldn't be guilty. They'd simply be doing what's right for them. And yet we say they're guilty. When someone murders an innocent person, it bothers us, enrages us. We hate injustice. Now, maybe we're in a game of survival of the fittest. Suffering and death simply weed out those who aren't strong enough or lucky enough to have won the genetic lottery. But if that's true, why do stories of death and destruction draw up feelings of deep disgust and hurt inside you? Why does your heart break at the news of tragedy? And why do so many other people feel the same way? Could it be that there's something more? Some greater outside force that has ingrained you with the desire for love and goodness? Suppose there's a reason behind hating the evil in the world. Suppose it leads to something greater. Could it lead to hope?
Morning shine, shine, shine. Las Vegas, shine your light on me.
You've been watching Las Vegas Tonight with your host, Dale Davidson. We hope you've enjoyed this edition of our show. We so appreciate your loyalty to our program. To keep Las Vegas Tonight on the air, please go to our website, vegassaints.org, and click the Donate button. To send a check or money order, please make it out to Dale Wynn Davidson Ministries and mail it to 9030 West Sahara Avenue, Suite 255, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89117. To suggest a guest to appear on the show or any other suggestions or questions, write to Dale at dalewdavidson@yahoo.com or call him at 702-480-3989.
Shine, Las Vegas, shine.